Monster dino ribs, cooked hot and fast and smelling absolutely incredible. How good does that look? Oh, tender, juicy, and the flavour. I'm Schuey, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to smoke beef ribs in a Weber, and we'll be going hot and fast in today's video. So just sit back, grab a drink or two, and let's get into it. Like any recipe, we need the main ingredient, and today we're talking beef ribs. And luckily for you, the great people out at Gippsland Premium Meats sent me some. Otherwise, I'd be standing here doing nothing. Now, what they did send me was some bash straight short beef ribs, and they're roughly 2 kilograms a rack. These are some pretty meaty dino ribs. It's time to start prepping these mammoth ribs. Using a sharp knife as opposed to a blunt spoon, we're going to remove the top layer of fat and silver skin. Just start at one corner and just keep slicing away, trying not to remove too much of the meat in the process. And once we've removed all that, we just need to flip them over. Now, beef ribs have two membranes on the bone side. We just need to remove the top thicker layer. Using a butter knife, just pry away one corner, and then using a piece of paper towel to get some grip, presto! Look at you, you little trooper. You now have trimmed beef ribs. Time for a rub. Time to make a rub. Keep it simple. Salt, pepper, and granulated garlic is how we're rolling today. Into a rub shaker, put 20% salt, 60% coarsely ground pepper, and 20% garlic. Now just pretend you're a bartender making a cocktail and shake it all up. Now apply the rub to the ribs from about 30 centimeters high. This just allows the particles to separate and you'll get better, even coverage of your rub on your meat. Don't forget the sides. Once it's all covered, top, sides, bottom, pat the rub into the meat in a consensual way. And then just pop them aside. Although it's called a rub, don't rub it into the meat. Otherwise it'll clump up and you'll get an uneven taste on your end product. Today I'm going to be using a 57 centimeter Weber kettle, and I'm going to be utilizing the snake method. Why? Because I want to be smoking at temps of 150 to 160 degrees Celsius today. So how I'll do that is by setting up what is commonly known as the snake method. That's lining up briquettes in a neat row. And today I've gone with a 2x1 setup. Then I'll add 14 briquettes to a chimney starter. Light them up. Once they're all ashed over, I'm going to dump them on one end of the snake. Then I'm going to place some cherry wood around the snake, leaving a 50mm gap in between each piece, leaving one piece aside for when our Weber gets to temp. I'll always add a foil tray to the bottom because it's going to aid in cleanup and catch any drippings. Put the grill back in place, insert an ambient temp probe to track our temps. When using an ambient temp probe with the snake method, make sure that you put it on the grill on the opposite side of your lit fuel. Pop your lid on, make sure the vents are wide open, and your vent is on the opposite side of the lit fuel as well. Now I'll watch the temps and I'll close down the bowl vent before we hit our target temp. Allow the temps to rise, and as it gets 30 to 50 degrees Celsius off our target temp, you want to start closing down your bowl vent. Now I say between 30 and 50 degrees Celsius because it all depends on the weather. If it's a hot day, that temp's going to rise a lot quicker, and if it's a cooler day, it's going to rise a lot slower. Now, before we shove our meat in, we need to grab our balls. Foil balls, that is. Just place these on the outside of the grill, furthest away from that lit fuel. And now we can just rest the rack of ribs on them. And this is going to stop any liquid pooling on top of our ribs. Not forgetting that piece of wood we put aside, put that directly over the hot charcoal. Then give the ribs a spray of my special spritz and put the lid on. Making sure the lid vents over our food. My special spritz is a complex formula of 3 equal parts. 1 part water to 1 part water to 1 part water. I'm only going to spritz these ribs at the start to help promote a smoky flavour, because meat that is moist attracts more smoke. By positioning the lid vent over our food, the heat and smoke is drawn over it. We are 2 hours into the cook, so let's lift the lid, check the bark, look at the colour, and we may as well check the temp while we're in there. Wow, look at that. Perfect pullback on the bones. That colour is looking great. The bark is forming. Let's check the temp. 76 degrees. This is an important part of the smoking process, as that connective tissue collagen starts to dissolve into gelatin. The melting of collagen starts around 71 degrees Celsius and rapidly increases up until about 82 degrees Celsius. So it's time to wrap up the ribs and speed up that process. And I'm using pink butcher's paper today. Why? Because No one said I couldn't. So we're just gonna wrap this up, remove your balls, place them in there, and we're just gonna insert an internal meat probe, making sure we don't hit the bone. The lit fuel has traveled from here to here, so we just need to adjust the grill to make sure our food is opposite that lit fuel. Pop the lid on and relax. Now would be a great time to subscribe to my channel, and while you're there, hit that bell button. That bell button will allow you to be notified every time I wrap more meat. Today I'm smoking with temps of around 150 to 160 degrees Celsius. What we are aiming for is probe tender meat, and that's going to happen anywhere around the 96 to 99 degrees Celsius mark. As we are going hot and fast today, that's going to be around the 3.5 to 4 hour mark. Or, for those of you who like to follow my beer timer, we're looking at an 8 beer cook. That's 8 beers to quench your thirst. Or 8 wines, whiskies, I don't care what you drink. Cups of tea, whatever. The ribs are currently sitting at 98 degrees Celsius, so let's grab them out of the Weber and check them. Now this is a time we can allow the use of a wooden skewer. So just pop it in and we are checking to see if there's any resistance. Now if it slides in and out easily, you're in luck. If not, let them cook for another 20 minutes and check again. These though are good to come off the heat. We're just gonna let them steam out for about 10 minutes. And after you've let it steam off for about 10 minutes, you just wanna wrap it back up again. And then just place an old towel in an esky, put the ribs on top of that, and a towel on top, pop the lid on, lock it up, and go and amuse yourself for a couple of hours. Some people refer to this as resting the meat, where in fact it's holding the temp. Resting your meat is short amount of times like you would rest a steak. The ribs have been hiding for the last couple of hours and the time has come to finally slice into them. Oh, how good does that look? Too good for the cameraman.
What?
The longer you can hold your ribs, the better the result. More time means more tender. If beef is your passion, get some of these into you. Come on, we all know I'm gonna say it. This is that good, it should be illegal. As always, cheers for watching.